Hey friends, Erica here from Milestone Mom, and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm so excited that you're here. So this is a place that we talk about child development, special needs, and the early intervention program. Today I'm going to dive deep into what a pediatric developmental therapist does for the early intervention program and also the 5 different domains that we look at. So if you missed my other video that talked about what early intervention is, make sure you check it out here because it will go over the 4 different processes of the early intervention program. But today we're diving deep on what developmental therapy is and the 5 different domains. So if you are interested in that, make sure you come back. I'll see you in a minute. Hey guys, welcome back. So if you've been following my channel for very long, you know that I have been a pediatric developmental therapist for the early intervention program for almost a decade. And this is something that is near and dear to my heart. I am in families' homes every day, educating them on child development, special needs if their child already has some sort of diagnosis, and getting them through the early intervention process. And it's what I love to do. But I knew very quickly I needed to own a small piece of the internet and bring it to you guys. So here we are. Make sure you stick around to the end of the video because I'm going to give you a developmental checklist so you can print it out. But make sure you stick around and I'll tell you exactly how you can get that. So what is a developmental therapist and what do they do for the early intervention program? So as a developmental therapist, I go into families' homes for the initial evaluations and also the annual assessments. The early intervention program is set up to where we need I'm going to call it a DT, developmental therapist or a DT, at every single initial and annual meeting. Now, when we come in, we use a standardized test. At the time that this video is made, I'm using a Battelle Inventory 2 standardized test, and part of it is made up of interview questions for the parents, so asking you guys a lot of questions, and then the other part of the test, we actually have to see your child doing the activities that we present to them. So once there's a meeting, like after the initial evaluations or the annual assessment, you'll hear things like month equivalent and percentage delay. Now, when you hear those, that means that I am testing your child based on other kids' exact age as your child. So that's how we get that percentage delay and also that month equivalent. Now, if your child was premature, we do adjust for age. So you'll hear chronological age and adjusted age. So maybe your child is 15 months, but they were born 4 weeks early. So for every 4 weeks, obviously we adjust a month. So if they're 15 months, we would test them at a 14-month level. Now, once we hit the 24-month mark age group on the test, we do not adjust for prematurity or any early deliveries at that time. So up until then, though, we can adjust for age. Okay, without further ado, what are the 5 different areas that a developmental therapist goes over? Now, we look at the child globally, so you might also hear that thrown out there. That means globally, like every single area of development we look at. So one of the first things that we look at is adaptive. Now, this is their dressing skills, how they're sleeping, are they using utensils, are they drinking from a cup, are they drinking from an open cup, are they understanding some of those cautions, like not running out in the road or knowing that hot is dangerous. Maybe when mom opens the stove or something like that, they know hot and they don't come around it. So just understanding some of those cautions. The next area that we go over is cognitive skills. So think of these as academic skills, matching colors, attention, memory skills. In babies, it might be, are they tracking a light source? Are they able to turn to a sound? Like if we ring a bell, are they turning to look to that sound? Personal social is the third area. And that's pretty much what it is. How is your child playing with peers? Or do they accept separating from parents easily? Do they interact well with adults? Or are they headbanging and biting and hitting and having a really difficult time socially and not following some of those structured activities and stuff from an adult? So how are they doing with that personal social, which includes children their age and also adults? And then the next area that we're going to go over is communication. Now there's two different areas on my test, and that is expressive language and receptive language. So receptive language is what your child is understanding. Are they following one-step directions? Are they starting to follow one direction but two commands? So go get mommy your shoes and put your sippy on the table. So how are they understanding those directions? And then the next area that we look at in communication is expressive language. So that is how your child is getting their wants and needs met. Are they gesturing? Are they speaking? Are they speaking clearly? Are they babbling? Are they cooing? So those are some of the areas we look at for expressive. And then the last area, which is the fifth area, we look at motor development. So there's two areas that I look at in this category as well. So the first one is fine motor. So this is all of the little things. Are they maneuvering puzzle pieces okay? Are they able to stack blocks? Are they scribbling? Do they have a neat pincer grasp when they pick up small objects? Are they still raking them? Or are they maybe doing a little bit of both? So those are some of the things that I look at when I'm testing. And then the last area of motor development is gross motor. So these are the big things. Are they climbing? Are they going up and down stairs okay? Are they rolling over? Are they pulling to stand and cruising along furniture? Are they throwing a ball? Those are the 5 different areas that we look at in early intervention as a developmental therapist. And parents usually really like this because we are getting the child globally. So we're able to look at all those different areas. Even if it comes in as a speech concern or maybe torticollis or something like that, you're still going to have a developmental therapist come in. So, okay guys, like I said, those are the 5 different areas that a developmental therapist looks at. And guys, don't forget to grab your developmental therapy guide in the description. There's a link that will lead you to the printable, and I want you to enjoy it. Look at it, take it with a grain of salt, guys. Kids develop at different ages, okay? But that is just kind of, it's like an average of what kids are supposed to be doing. And I want you to have it, and I want you to have access to it. So are you a mom who has a child with special needs? Or are you a mom who is just wondering if your child is developing appropriately? Well, if that is you, then make sure you stick around because I am going to talk about what early intervention is and the 4 steps to the early intervention program. Hey guys, welcome back. So what is early intervention? Well, in a nutshell, early intervention is a birth to 3 program. And it helps children who might possibly have a delay. We don't know. If there's maybe a doctor suspects that there's a delay, or if a parent is concerned, the early intervention program is there to come and evaluate your child to let you know that they are developing appropriately or not. If they are not developing appropriately, then we will get services set up, which is what I'm going to talk about here in a minute. So every state has an early intervention program. And I will go ahead and link in the comment, in the description below, the link to the website that breaks down each state and what number you can call if you are having concerns with your child. So remember, early intervention is a birth to 3 program. So if your child is over the age of 3 and you have concerns, I would speak to your local school district about that because early intervention only sees kids up until age 3. They actually age out of our program the day before their 3rd birthday. So that is early intervention. So let's go ahead and dive in and talk about the steps. So step 1 is referral. Now, the referral comes in from a few different sources. It can come in from a pediatrician, NICU, health department, or a parent. Now, this is a huge misconception among parents that they don't think that they can call and refer to our program. They think that it needs to come through a pediatrician, and that is not true. So make sure you check out that link that I put in the description, because that will give you a number that you can call and refer your child if they are under 3. So referral. The second is intake. So once that referral comes in, the person at our office takes all kinds of information from the person referring the child and sends it off to a service coordinator. So many of you know already, just from listening to me talk, that I currently work as a service coordinator in the early intervention program and a pediatric developmental therapist. So let's say a referral comes in my area, that would actually get emailed to me securely, and I would print off the child's information and I would give the family a call to schedule a day and time to meet for intake. And the intake usually takes about 45 minutes. It's completed in your home, just going over a lot of questions, paperwork, and then we'll get evaluations scheduled based on your concerns for your child. And one of the reasons that intake is such a crucial part of early intervention is because we see a lot of kiddos. I mean, we see kiddos from basic speech delays to terminal illnesses. So when I am in there as a service coordinator, I am gathering as much information as I can get to send off to the therapist. So they'll have that information for their evaluations, which leads me to step number 3, evaluations. So remember, the referral has come in either from a pediatrician, the NICU, WIC, or the health department, or a parent has referred. You've gotten a call from a service coordinator to schedule intake, gathered all that information, and now it's time for evaluations. So during the evaluation, the speech therapist and the developmental therapist are going to come in together. And it usually takes about 45 minutes for them to complete their evaluation. They're both using a standardized test. For myself, as a developmental therapist, I use what's called the Battelle Inventory 2. So a lot of the testing is made up of parent interview, but then some of the testing, we actually have to see the child do things. So it's pretty much like 2 therapists coming in with the big bags of toys. We call them, or I call them, magic bags of toys. Even some of the shyest kids do fine. We come in, we sit on the floor with your child, and we start our test. Like I said, that usually takes about 45 minutes. We always need a developmental therapist at the initial evaluations and then also at the annual. But again, make sure that you click on this video because if you want to know all the different domains that a developmental therapist goes through with your child, then this is the video for you to watch. Takes about 45 minutes. So after the 45 minutes, the service coordinator will actually come for a brief meeting. I mean, it can last anywhere from 15 minutes to, I've been in families' homes an hour and a half, 2 hours, just depending on the need of the child. So normally, on average, it takes about a half an hour for the meeting. And parents usually like this too because you're going to get scores and you're going to know if your child qualifies. So once the service coordinator gets there, the meeting starts. The therapists have already scored their test. And what you'll hear thrown out, and again, I'll talk about this more in the developmental therapy video, but you'll hear month equivalent and percentage delay. And all of those numbers are based on other kids, your child's exact age. So we'll know exactly where they're at developmentally, and we'll know if they qualify for services. So let's say, in early intervention, your child has to have a 30% delay or greater to qualify for our program. Now, there are kids that are close to that 30%, but don't quite hit it, and sometimes therapists will choose to approve your child for the early intervention program through clinical opinion. So they can write the report that way, and we can get your child in if they're under the age of 30%, and we feel like there's a need. If your child qualifies for the early intervention program, we will write goals and strategies. So these goals are looked at over 6-month periods because every 6 months we have a meeting to determine progress and to see if your child's progressing with the goals that we've set. So we will write goals for your child and also strategies. So the strategies are, how are we going to help your child achieve this goal? And those are the things that the ongoing therapist will be working with on either a weekly basis, 2 times a month, or a monthly basis, just depending on when services are recommended. And those are typically the only frequency that we really do. Sometimes we'll do 2 times a week, but that's only if your child's got a significant delay and they're a little bit older, like getting ready to age out of the program, and we need to hit early intervention really hard. But normally it's 1 time a week, 2 times a month, or 1 time a month. And between 27 and 33 months, we actually help transition into the school district. So each one of your schools has an early childhood program, which is 3 to 5. So your child will age out of early intervention the day before their 3rd birthday, and the school legally has to have everything ready to go for your child to start school when they are 3. Now, it might not be on their birthday, depending on if there's a holiday or if it's a weekend, but they will get them started right around their birthday. So we help with that process. Like I said, it begins between 27 and 33 months. I like to shoot for that 30-month mark just so I'm not missing anything. I know that seems early for parents, but we have a process. Because we're state funded, we have things that we need to abide by, and then also the school district, by the time we do the transition meeting and then the school does their own domain meeting and assessment for the child, and then you have another meeting to sign IEP paperwork if that child does qualify for the school-based services. So it is a process. That's why we start so early. So from my perspective, from a service coordinator, I would schedule a meeting with a school representative in our district and the parents. So during the meeting, it would be myself, the parents, and then the school rep from whatever home school district they're in. And I tell families it's like a meet and greet. So it's a 15-20 minute meeting where they can answer questions about busing and just a whole bunch of different things. Maybe stuff about like how the classroom's set up and the different structures and stuff like that. And I know a lot of times the teacher or the school representative is really good about inviting the parents back to actually see the classroom. But it's really just the school district getting releases signed so they can get information so they can send information to us, because at this point we've already had releases signed to go to the school district. So just going over a lot of questions, paperwork, and then the school district will be in touch with the family. I usually tell families about a month or 2 before the child ages out so they can get stuff going on their end. But yeah, that is early intervention in a nutshell. So just to recap, early intervention is birth to 3, okay? There's a link in the description box where you can go to the website and look up your early intervention program in your area, in your state. The 4-step process is referral, intake, evaluations, and then transition. Now the transition obviously only happens if your child's getting ongoing. So it could be when we come in for evaluations, your child doesn't qualify. You just sign a form and we go on our way, and you have peace of mind that your child did not qualify for the early intervention program. And if your child does qualify, then you also have peace of mind knowing that they are getting the help that they need before they turn 3. And I will tell you guys that early intervention works if you work it. And I say that because the whole program, the whole system of early intervention we call it home programming or parent education. So let's pretend that your speech therapist comes in 1 time a week. Well, 1 time a week for 60 minutes can benefit, but for the most part, that therapist is in there giving families homework for you to work on that week until until the therapist comes back that following week for sessions. And that's why I say it works if you work it, because we can really tell those families that are doing the homework with their child that the therapist has suggested, and they have really great success. And I have had several kids age out before they turn 3, which means they didn't make it to the school district, the early childhood program, and an IEP was not signed. They did not have to go through that process because early intervention worked, because the parents worked hard. And I will also say that there are some diagnoses where you can work as hard as you want, and sometimes the child just still does not catch up. And that's okay, because they're in early intervention and we're helping transition them into the next phase, which is school-based services. And it's not like they're aging out of early intervention and we're saying, bye, I'll see you later. I hope that you're fine until you go to kindergarten. No, we make sure that we have those next steps in place for you.